Welcome, LaGrave family, to another installation of our Psalm 40 project. Today, I am having a conversation with Chris Walkley, member of LaGrave and resident of the neighborhood. So, Chris, thanks for joining me today.
Not a problem.
All right. Hey, let's just start with some basics. Where did you grow up?
I grew up down by a little town called Fenville.
Okay.
Spent most of my life down there, and then ended up going to Holland to live in the Mission for a while, and then
All right.
ended up coming up to Grand Rapids.
There we go. So let's go circle back to Fenville. So tell me a little bit about family, siblings, that sort of thing.
I have two brothers and a mother alive right now.
Okay. All right.
My dad passed away probably about 8 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Now I know. Where'd you go to high school? Fenville High School.
Yeah.
Public high school. And while you were in high school, I know that one of your extracurricular activities was being part of something called the Quiz Bowl or
Yeah.
something like that. So tell me a little bit. What is Quiz Bowl? First of all,
It's an academic competition.
Okay.
Basically, the schools send in their supposed finest in academics to show which school teaches the best.
Okay, all right. So it was like, not trivia, but it was like just questions that,
Oh, it was trivia.
like trivia questions. Okay, a little bit like Jeopardy, only. with
Yeah,
those
only you didn't have to answer a question.
You could. They would ask a question and you could answer.
Yeah.
So, how do you prepare for something like that, or how did you go about preparing for Quiz Bowl?
Well, I would go into the library and read the encyclopedia.
And okay, so how did that help you?
The encyclopedias are good for a broad base of knowledge,
Yep.
and that was my forte. Was if it wasn't a specialty of somebody else, they could rely on me.
Because you had the broad depth. So, I didn't realize that. So maybe a team might put together some students based on they had a specialty.
We
of
had one
knowledge.
guy who was really good at sports. We had one lady who was really good at literature.
Okay,
I was good as a general catch-all.
catch-all from reading the encyclopedia. You have a preference for encyclopedias, the World Book or Britannia? Or?
Britannica.
Okay, all right. There we go. Good. Okay, you already mentioned, but let's go a little bit deeper into, or a little more detail. How was it that you became homeless? How did that come about?
I had a fight with my parents because I didn't want to grow up.
Okay.
I was in that Peter Pan mode.
Okay. I've never heard you refer to it as your Peter Pan mode. I like that. So, all right.
And they decided that the best way for me to learn to grow up was to experience the world in all its harshness.
All right. So did you become homeless immediately, or did you move into an apartment at that time?
I moved into a trailer that I couldn't afford.
Okay.
So I ended up getting an eviction because I couldn't pay the lot rent and the trailer payment.
Okay. Were you working at that time then?
Yeah,
Okay. Where?
Myers.
Okay. All right. All right. Whereabouts was the trailer located? Where were you?
I was in the south side of Holland.
South side of Holland. Okay. All right. So, did you spend time living on the streets in Holland, or
Yep.
how did that go? What was that like?
Holland, they tend to be a little bit more strict about people living on the street than they used to in Grand Rapids. I don't know if they tightened up or not, but so I ended up going to the Holland Mission and met a friend of mine there.
Okay.
And when he got thrown out of the program, I decided to be the Good Samaritan and go with him to Grand Rapids so that he had a friend that he could rely on.
Okay. When you came to Grand Rapids, did you go directly to a mission here, or
Yeah.
did you? Okay.
went to Guiding Light back when Chico Daniels was still in charge of it.
Okay, so that was a few directors before the current director of Stuart Ray. Okay, yeah. So, how long were you at Holland Mission, and how long were you at Guiding Light? Estimate.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How would you characterize life in the mission at that time? Knowing that it's probably changed since then, but yeah.
Back then, the missions were all shove religion down everybody's throat. I don't know if they still do that.
Okay. Say a little bit more about that. What was that like?
As much as I hate to say it, it got to the point where we would have, in order to get a meal, we'd have to sit through a service. So most of the people that I know that went to Guiding Light, we'd all go in there, sit down, and then tune out the world.
Just put in your time, wait for supper.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, all right. When you were staying at Guiding Light, did you have some responsibilities there, jobs?
Yeah.
Sort of thing? Yeah.
I was helping to unload their food truck that would come in, and I was also a member of their third shift security team.
Oh, okay. All right. So you weren't there for drug or alcohol
No.
addiction issues, challenges? No. Okay. It was just a matter of being homeless. Okay. All right. So, what other spiritual formation or faith formation activities did they have in addition to chapel? Was there anything in addition to chapel that you could participate in at that time?
Not really.
Okay.
And calling it faith formation,
okay,
I'm going to argue with you on that.
Well, that won't be the first time we've argued, so go ahead.
Probably not. It probably won't be the last.
No.
But like I said, they were pushing religion so hard that it was a matter of just tuning out the world.
Okay.
I actually got into an argument with a pastor and got him to quit because he said something that I didn't agree with.
Okay. And that was at Guiding Light or Holland?
That was at Guiding Light.
That was at Guiding Light, yeah, okay. Yeah, they had a number, I remember preaching some of those services. They had a whole crew of people going through there, the rotation, so.
Yeah.
All right, so how did you transfer sort of out of Guiding Light and into housing? How did that happen?
I got my Social Security.
All right. Did Guiding Light help with that, or how did you?
No, I actually got a lawyer to help me with that.
Okay. All right.
That, and I was also going to Cherry Street, and this was back when it was still over by the Sheldon House.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I had a case manager that helped me get my Social Security.
So that was helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been? Right now, you're at Weston.
Yep.
With Dwelling Place. Have you been at other Dwelling Place?
The Ferguson and the Elmdale.
Okay, Ferguson, Elmdale, and now Weston. You've been there how long?
About 3 years.
About 3 years. Okay. All right.